Okay, so in the last lecture, I mean, in previous 2, 3 lectures, we have gone through the process of executing this C program and all, right? So I was talking about this, right? Okay, so we have discussed this diagram, right? Whatever programs we have in C programming, we save that program using .c, right? Then the role of preprocessor comes, right? Then we include the header files in our program, right? So the role of preprocessor is what? To exclude the header file from our program, right? And it will include the content of the header file in your program. Okay. As I told you that the header file contains hundreds or thousands of lines of code, right? So it will include that code in your program and it will remove those header files, right? Then the role of compiler comes. Compiler, processor, preprocessor, all these are a software, right? What compiler does, if there is some error in your program, it will identify those errors, right? And after rectifying those errors, it will convert this .c file into .obj file because your computer cannot understand this English language sentences. So it will convert it into zeros and ones. Okay, that is your object file. Then the role of library file comes, right? So it is the responsibility of linker. This is also one of the software which combines which links this object file with the library file. Okay, and then it forms the exe file, right? So I have told you already discussed in the first or second lecture, right? So why I'm telling you again, because I want to show you something related to that. So I have downloaded this Turbo C from Google. Okay, so likewise you can also download for Windows. And if you are using Ubuntu or Linux operating system, in that case you need to install GCC compiler. So Turbo C, which I had downloaded from the Google, right? So it has so many folders. Okay? And the folder which will be useful for our programming, that we will discuss first. So in bin we store our program. Okay, like I have created one program. I have developed one program using C programming, right? So I would like to show you that program and how it creates the different files. Okay, so after installation of that software, I got this shortcut. Okay, after installing Turbo C. So then click on Start Turbo. Okay, so I have created this program. I have developed this program, right? As I told you that void main is the entry point, it is mandatory. I want to do addition of two numbers and that result will be stored in a third number. So as I told you that once you enter in a main function, then the first step will be to declare the variable because without declaration of the variable, you cannot use that variable in your program, right? So declaration is must. So once you enter the main function, the first step will be to declare the variable. After that, we use CLR SCR function. Why we use this function? As I already told you, it avoids the previous output. It clears the screen. Then instead of as I told you in the previous lecture, in the last lecture, that instead of assigning values here, like a is equal to 10, b is equals to 20, right? So instead of that, we take value at runtime to make our program dynamic, because if you are assigning the values at the time of declaration, that values will be static. You will not be able to change those values at runtime. Okay, so for that, we use the scanf function. You know, printf. Printf is having two syntaxes, right? One is a control string in double quotes, and second one, this one, right? In double quotes, the format specifier and the value which is to be displayed, right? So I have entered the values for A and B because I want to add two numbers, right? And that input, because I have not assigned values for A B here, right? So that's why I will take input for A and B, right? So A is of type integer, so that's why %d. B is also of type %d. This is integer type. Okay, so because I just want to do addition of two integer numbers, that's why %d. Okay, or you can use %I also. That is nothing but the format specifier. So format specifier we use. So it indicates, the format specifier indicates that what type of value you want to take as a input from the keyboard. Okay, so scanf function we use in order to take the input from the keyboard. Okay, so if I enter 10, then it will store in this variable at particular memory address, because each and every variable value will be stored at particular memory address, as I already told you, right? So 10 will be stored at A. If I enter the second value as 20, that will be stored in variable B. Okay, and each and every variable is having its own memory addresses, because those values 10 and 20 will be stored in a memory at particular
हेलो सर.
memory addresses.
हेलो सर.
Yes,
हाँ सर, आपका वॉइस थोड़ा स्लो आ रहा है.
अभी आ रहा है क्लियर?
हाँ सर, क्लियर आ रहा है पण थोड़ा स्लो आ रहा है, बहुत सुनाई दे रहा नहीं.
Okay. Everyone is having the same problem.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes, sir.
little bit slow. Hello.
सर थोड़ा कम आ रहा है.
Okay, okay,
हाँ
okay,
सर, स्लो नहीं सर, लाउड नहीं आ रहा है, मतलब थोड़ा वॉल्यूम
okay,
थोड़ा
okay,
कम है शायद.
okay, okay, okay.
यस सर.
Now is it fine? Please give me confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So scanf function we use to take the input from the keyboard. Okay, because we don't want to assign these values like this. Okay, I don't want to assign values at the time of declaration of the variable. So for that, I am using here scanf function in order to take the input from the keyboard. Okay, now I can change the input. Okay, my input will be dynamic. I can take 10, 20. For the second time execution, I can take 30, 40, like that. Okay, but if you assign the values here only, you'll not be able to change those values. That is called a static declaration. Now using scanf function, we can do the dynamic declaration of the variable. We can take the values at runtime and we can change those values. Okay, so that's why we use the scanf function. Okay, the syntax of the scanf function you can understand, right? Just like your printf. Okay, so in printf also we use what, format specifier in double quotes, but here I just want to display the value of C here. That's why only one format specifier, right? But here in scanf I want to take input for two variables A and B. Okay, that's why two format specifier, %d %d. Okay, and why just remember the difference between the scanf and printf function. We never give ampersand here. Don't do this mistake. Okay, why? I'll tell you. Because I want to take input through scanf function, right? So I will take 10 as an input. So it will get stored at particular memory address in the memory. Okay, because in memory there are so many memory addresses are present. So 10 will be stored at different memory address, 20 will be stored at different memory address. So that ampersand symbol, this ampersand symbol indicates the memory address of that variable. And in C programming, each and every variable is having its own different memory address, unique memory address. Okay, this B here, ampersand B, is nothing but the value of B will be stored at particular memory address. So that ampersand symbol indicates what, the address of that variable. That is nothing but the memory address. Okay, so after taking the input, what will be the next step? I will add 10 A plus B, and as I have told you that this operator is not. We will see all the operator in detail. Okay, just for now, just remember that this is nothing but the assignment operator. Okay, this is not a equal. Equal means what? Double equal. That is equality operator. Okay, but this is nothing but the assignment operator. How it works? It assigns the right side value. It will calculate A plus B, and that result will be assigned to variable C. Means if I suppose take 10 plus 20, that 30 will be stored in C, and later on your printf will display the value of c here. Okay, and one more point, remember here the difference between printf and scanf in the form of syntax. Here in scanf we take the ampersand symbol. We never take ampersand symbol in printf function. Remember this one, because I want to display the value of variable c. I don't want to display the memory address of c. If I write ampersand c, then instead of 30, it will display the memory address of that variable c instead of 30. We will see that. Okay. So you need to type your program. You need to type your program in this blue screen. Okay. And then later on you can save as, you can give any name. Okay, you can give any name, suppose demo.c, right? So that program will be stored in this path. Remember this path in C, turbo C3 and bin. So your program by default it gets stored in a bin folder. Okay, and make sure that the extension for your file name is .c because we are running C programming. Okay, remember this point. Your extension should not be .cpp. .cpp means what? C++ programming, but we are learning C programming. So your extension file name, you can do anything. I have given demo, but the extension should be .c, and then you need to click on OK button. Okay, because I already given the name as Raj demo. It can be anything. Okay, but the extension should be .c. Okay, so as I told you that getch function. Why we use getch function? If you are not using the getch function, within a fraction of a second, your program will vanish. Okay, your output will vanish. So just to stabilize that window, we are using what? Getch function. We'll see its execution. Okay. So for compiling the program, why we compile the program? To identify or to rectify the errors in the program. So for that, we use Alt plus F9 key. Remember, Alt plus F9 key for compiling the program. Okay, so it is showing lines compiled are 12. There are 12 lines in my program. Warnings are 0, errors are 0. Means my program is error free. There is no error in my program. Okay, so once you do the compilation, then you can execute the program. So for running the program, Control F9. Okay, Alt F9 for compilation and Control F9 for running. Now I have run my program using Control plus F9. Now I will take the input for A and B. For A, I will take input 12. Then press enter. Again for B, I am taking 12. So the 12 plus 12 should be 24. So this is the output of my program. I got the output as 24. Okay. This is how you can type your program. You can save your program using .c extension. Then if you are not aware about the compilation and running part, then here the option is compile. You can click on compile. What is the shortcut key? Alt plus F9. See here, Alt plus F9. So if you are not able to remember at initial, then you can use these options. Just click on compile. So you can easily compile. And from here, you can run. Run. What is the shortcut key? Control plus F9. Okay. So you can give input as 12 and then 12, then you get the output. Then again to exit from here, press enter. After pressing the enter key, you'll come out of that program. Okay. I want to show the debugging part of this program now. Okay, I want to debug this program. I want to check how the values are going, and simultaneously I will let you know the importance of this predefined function. Right, we have discussed in the last lecture that void main is a user defined function. As I discussed that what is the syntax of user defined function. Initially we write the return type and then the function name. round bracket, opening and closing curly braces. In that function, we write the logic for the program. Now, this is nothing but the logic for my program because I want to do the addition of two numbers, right? So that's why I have declared two variables, then CLR function in order to clear the screen. Then I have displayed this message to the user that you have to enter the values for A and B, because if you are not giving the message, then how he will know that I have to enter the numbers, right? You might enter some character also. Okay, so for that, we need to display the message to the user through printf function that you have to enter the values. So he'll enter the values for A and B, and we will take that input of 10 and 20 from scanf function. Okay, scanf is in order to take the input from the keyboard. Okay, then we do the addition of two numbers A plus B, and we'll assign that value to the C, and then later on we will display that value of C variable using printf function. Okay, now how to check the values, so how to debug your program. Let's see that. So here is option on left right hand side, Windows. In Windows, click on watch. Okay, again go to Windows, click on output. Okay, again go to Windows, click on tile option. Okay, now I have three windows. This is my input window, that is my blue screen. This is for adding the watch, because I want to check how the value of the variable changes in the program, and here you can see the output simultaneously. Okay, so let me repeat. In Windows, first of all you need to click on watch. Okay, again go to Windows, click on output, again go to Windows, click on tile. Okay, now this is nothing but the tiling of the windows. Okay, now I want to add the watch. I want to watch the values of the variable. So you need to click here on watch. Okay, okay, यहाँ पे जो initial रहेगा वहाँ पे click करना है आपको. That's it. So I want to watch the value of variable A. So I will enter the value of variable A. Okay, so you just need to enter A and then click on OK. Again click here in watch. Double click. Okay, not a single click. You have to double click. Then I want to watch the value of variable B also. Click on OK. Again, I will double click here below B. I want to watch the value of variable C also. Click on OK. Okay. Now, I will be able to see, I will be able to watch the values of A, B, C variable, how it is varying in the program. Okay. So, click on void. Okay. Because that is the entry point. Okay, so you need to click here now in your blue screen and void. Okay, below the void you have to click. Now you need to press F8 key. F8 key. Okay, so I will now press the F8 key. Okay, now it has entered in my program. Okay, the control has entered in my program. F8 is nothing but the step over. It will check the step-by-step execution of the program, how the values of those variables are changing step-wise in my program. So that's why F8 key. So again, I will press F8. Now you can see the values for variable in watch window. See, value of variable A is minus 29,382. Then value of B is 657. Then value of C is minus 28 something, right? So these are nothing but the garbage value, unnecessary value. These garbage values are assigned by the operating system by default. These are the default value for A, B, C. But I have not given any input for A, B. Okay, I have not till now I have not given the input, because for input we need to go to scanf function. But my control is up to clear screen. Okay, and these are nothing but the garbage values assigned by the operating system. If I assign the value A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, it will not show this garbage value. Remember. Okay. Are you getting or not? Could you please give confirmation? Hello? Hello? Am I audible to everyone? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay, it is clear to everyone. So the
Yes, sir.
values, yeah, so it is assigning the garbage value to the variable ABC. Okay, these are nothing but the wastage value that will be assigned by the operating system. These are the default values. Okay, so if I have given here A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, then it might have displayed that values here, right? Instead of this 10, instead of this 20. Okay, now see the functionality of CLR SCR. What is, I already told you that CLR SCR clear the screen. As you can see in the output window, there is something written. That means I have run that program for the last time, right? And it was showing the output as 24. And if I forgot to write the CLR SCR, it will display output 24 only. That's why you need to include CLR SCR in your function so that it will clear the previous output. Now you can see. And now I will press F8. For each and every step, you need to press F8. Again, I will press the F8. When I will press the F8, now the output screen, that is the black screen, will be clear. Now you can see. Now it is clear. Now you might have understood what is the use of CLR CR, right? It clears the screen to avoid the previous output, right? Now it comes to the control comes to the printf function. So I will enter the value. So again, I will press the F8 key. So once the control comes to the scanf, as I told you that scanf is to take the input from the keyboard. Okay, so we need to enter the values here, and printf will simply display the message that enter the values for A and B, so that your end user will not enter some character, right? So he'll understood that I have to enter some values here, right? Again, press F8. So you need to give input here, right? I will give value of A as 10, value of B as 20. Okay, I will press enter here. Now you can see in watch window, the value of A is now 10, value of B is 20, the value of C is garbage value only, because the value of A plus B, that is 10 plus 20, is not yet assigned to C. That's why it is showing the garbage value. Okay, again press F8. Now you can see the value of C is 30. Now it is assigned the value of A plus B into C. That's why the value of C is now 30 in watch. Okay. So this is how you can execute your program and you can debug your program. Okay. So these are the options in Windows. Go to watch. Again, go to Windows. Click on output. Again, go to Windows. Click on type. Okay. So likewise, you can check the values of different variable in a program, right? So you can add the watch from here, like by clicking on this space. So initially, I clicked here, double clicked here, and then I want to check the values of A. Then I have added B by double clicking on here. Then I double click on here, and then added the value of C also, right? Because I want to check values for ABC. So this is how you can debug your program. Okay, So as I told you that, as I told you, now I will quit here. Okay? Control, sorry, Alt plus X key you can press, or you can click on this quit. Alt plus X. I will. Okay. You want to save? Yes, I want to save. Now to save in, my program will save here in bin folder as I told you. So it must be there. Enter go C in bin folder. Raj demo was there, right? See, C file is there, right? C file. This is my program. This is my program, right? C file. I can see the type of the file is. What is this? One more file created, back file. If you press F2 key for more than once, then it will create the backup file. What is the use of backup file? In case if I delete my C file, that is this one. If I delete this file, then you'll get the same program from backup file. That is the use of backup file. Okay. So your program will save in a, by default, it will save in a bin folder. You can change the directory path and so on. But initially, as your initial learner, you'll save that program in bin folder only. Okay. Okay. So .c file, .bak file. Okay. Now we'll see some other files. So I was talking about this object file, obj file. See, you can't read this content of this .obj file. This is our obj file created because my program is not having any error. If there is error in your program, you will not get this file. Remember, you need to rectify those errors. You need to get out of that error. Then only you will get this obj file. And this is my software application, that is .exe file. You double click on it, you'll get the output, but this is not compatible with my operating system. That's why it is showing some error. Okay, so you'll get this application as a .exe file. This obj file after compilation, and this is for your linker will create this file, that is .exe file. These are the different files created when you run your program. Okay, and source will get those file obj file and then .exe file. Okay, then we have discussed about the in include folder. In include folder, you can find out there are so many header files. The type is H file. That means the header file. Are you getting? Could you please give me confirmation?
Yes, sir.
So your include in Turbo C, you have include folder. In this, all the header files are present. Like I want to show you some header files like stdio.h, that is standard input output, right? Let's check for that header file. I will press S so that finding will be easier. Yes, this one, stdio. Now you can see. Now you can see here the content of this stdio. Some code is already written. This much of code will get included in your program. Okay, when you write hash include stdio.h, right? And the role of preprocessor directive, that is the hash symbol, is what? It will include the content of this header file in your program. Even though my program is 3-4 lines of code, your preprocessor, that is that hash symbol, hash include stdio, that hash is nothing but the preprocessor. It will include this much of code in your program. Even though you are writing 3-4 lines of code, now it will get this code is also included in your program. That is the responsibility of the preprocessor. Okay, so this is nothing but the stdio. one more header file that we use frequently, that is Conio. This one, console input output. This one, okay. So this is also containing some declaration part. So this function, this header file is also containing some predefined functions. Declaration for the predefined function is present here. Okay. So this is one more header file. So when you write hash include conio.h, so that hash nothing but the preprocessor, it will include all this code in your program. Okay. You are just writing single line hash include conio.h, but this much of code will be included in your program. Remember, this much of code. Again, that stdio.h, that will also include that code. Okay. One more header file we use frequently, that is math.h. This one. We want to do some mathematical calculations. In that case, we use math.h. This is containing some declaration. Okay. Here the value of pi and all is already declared here. So it header file contains the declaration for the function. So there are so many functions declared in this header files. Okay. Then we were talking about the library file. As I told you that what is the responsibility of linker? It links the obj file with the library file. So these are the library files. Initially object file and then library file. These are the library files. Okay. So whatever I told you theoretically by that diagrammatic explanation, now I have told it practically also, right? And one more thing you have to remember, that your printf and scanf, it belongs to your std. That means the declaration is present over there. Okay. Now in the last lecture, we have discussed about the variables on. Okay. So the syntax of the variable will be like this, right? We assign some value, then we have discussed about the header files. Header file contains the declaration for the function, and the library file contains the definition function, as I just showed you. Okay. Then this is the entry point for our program. Okay. So those who are not able to connect today, I will share this recording with all of you. Don't worry about that. Okay. Because I shared each and every lecture with you on a classroom like that. Today's lecture is also being recorded and will be shared with all of you. Don't worry about that. Okay. So as I discussed in the last lecture, that this is the entry point of the program. It is mandatory to use, because without it we cannot execute our program. This is user defined function, and these are some predefined functions, right? The declaration of those functions are present in a header file, and definition for that function is present in a library file, right? So I want to avoid this declaration. Okay, I don't want to assign this value at the time of declaration. Okay, that's why we are using this scanf function, as I just discussed with you, right? Then clear CLRSR. What is the use of CLRSR? I just showed you by the demo, right? Then we are using the printf, and the last lecture we had discussed the different syntaxes of the printf function. This is one of the syntax of printf function, right? A printf in bracket, we write in double quotes control string like this. If I want to display some message hello world, I will put it inside double quote. This is one of the syntax of printf. Again, printf is used to display some value. For that we use this syntax, right? So syntax to format specifier in double quotes, and then followed by variable list. Okay. Then one more function we use, that is scanf. We are used today, right? What is the syntax of this scanf function? What is the use of this scanf function? To take input from the keyboard, right? We have to take the input from the keyboard, right? That is the use of scanf function. And what is the syntax for this? What is the syntax for the scanf function? Scanf scanf in double quotes, format specifier, okay, then comma. See the difference in printf syntax and scanf syntax. Format specifier in double quotes. Here simply we write the variable list, but here we need to start with the ampersand symbol because we are going to take the input through scanf function, right? And it should get stored at particular memory address. So this ampersand symbol, it indicates the memory address, that whatever input you will take, it will get stored at particular memory address. So ampersand variable variable one comma ampersand variable 2 and so on. Okay, so this is the syntax. Okay, and we have just discussed that if I want to do addition of two numbers and I want to store the result in a third variable, that is C. Okay, so I will take the input for A and B and will store that output in a C variable. So I need to take two inputs here. So how many format specifier you have to write? Two format specifier. Which type of integer? Because I just want to do simply addition of two integers. So %d gives a space, then again %d, double quotes complete. I'm just following the syntax, right? So I have written the format specifier in double quotes, then give comma. Then how many inputs you want to take? Because I want to do addition of two integers. So for that I have used A and B variable. So ampersand A and ampersand B. Okay. It means that if I take the value as 10, it will get stored at particular memory address. So that ampersand symbol indicates the memory address. Okay. If I entering 10 and 20, this 10 will be stored in variable A at particular memory address, right? Because in memory you have representation like this. What kind of representation? You have variable name A, it is holding the value 10 at particular memory address. This is scenarios for each and every variable. So I'm assigning this value 10. I want to take input as 10. It will store at particular memory address, right? But I have given the name as A. Okay, that's why we never use the ampersand symbol in a printf, because in printf we just want to simply display the value of variable. I want to display the value of the variable. I'm not interested here to see the memory address of that variable. Okay, here is nothing but the memory address, right? So in scanf only you have to use the ampersand symbol. Let's see that demo. I want to show you what is the difference here, right? If I use the instead of C here, while displaying the value, instead of C, now I'm writing it as a ampersand C. Now you might understood, instead of the value of that C, it will display what? Address of variable C. Let's check. Alt F9 for compilation. Control F9 for run. 12 for value of A, 12 for value of B. Is giving -16 as output. That is nothing but the memory address of the variable C. Okay, because we are doing in a %d form, that is integer type, but for hexadecimal form we use the %x. This is the memory address FFF0. This is the memory address of the variable C. Okay, because instead of D, I have written X. For hexadecimal, we use what? For hexadecimal values, we use what? %x. That's why it has shown the memory address of the variable C. You can see here, this is the memory address of variable C. Okay, that's why you need to remove the ampersand symbol to avoid that problem. Because we are not interested in that memory address. What you will do with that memory address? I want result of 10 or 12 plus 12, that is 24. I can see. If you give the result as 24. I want the output, correct output. So you might have understood. Remember this point that you have to use the ampersand symbol in a scanf function only, not in a printf. Okay. So these are the format specifier for different data types which we have discussed, and this is the memory space occupied by each and every data type, right? Void main is a user-defined function, right? Don't need to write the return type if you are writing the void. Void means what? It is not going. That function is not going to return any value, right? Instead of void, if you are writing the integer, then it will be a value returning function, and in that case, you need to write the return statement. Okay. Let's check for the demo. Void main and int main. We'll see that in a detail. Then we'll see uh, the function module. Okay. As I told you that header files are not mandatory. Without header files, I am running my program. If somebody told you that header files are mandatory, no, it is good practice to write. If I am not writing the header file, my compiler will declare those header files. But there is a problem. What is that problem? The declaration done by the compiler will not be always correct. So to avoid that problem, we are declaring the header file. Okay. So I can include here header file in my program. Hash include stdio.h. In the next header file, hash include conio.h. But remember, without header file also, I was able to show you the output. Okay. Now I have proved that without header file also, I can run the program. But it is good practice to write the header file. Okay. This stdio, standard input. For input, which function we use? Scanf function. So this function is present in this header file stdio. For output, we use printf function. So this function is also present in stdio. Conio means what? Console input output. This black window is nothing but the console window. Remember, this black window is called as what? Console window. So to clear this console window, we use CLR SCR function. Remember, if you are not using this CLR SCR, it will not clear this console window. This conio means what? Console input output. To clear this console window, we are using CLR SCR. So CLR SCR is present in conio. Likewise, this get.ch function is also present in a conio.h header file. Remember, printf and scanf is a part of stdio, and this CLR SCR and get.ch is a part of conio.h header file. So you need to include those header file in your program. Okay. So we were talking about the, instead of void main, if I take the int main, if I try to run my program, it is showing the warning. I can see here it is showing some warning, right? Control plus F9. We are able to get the output here, okay? But the base practice is what? You need to return some value. You need to write the return statement, okay? And in case if I forgot to write the get.ch function, 12, see, within a fraction of second, the output is vanished. I'm not able to see the output. That's why we need to use the get ch function. I like to show you one more time. Control F9 for running the program. 10 value for A, 20 value for B. When I press the enter key, because after entering the value for A and B, for each every time we need to press the enter key. 10, I press the enter key. 20, I press the enter key. Now I'm entering the, I'm now pressing the enter key. Now it should show the value 30 here, right? But it is not shown. Why? Because I have missed this get ch function. That's why get ch is clear. Okay. Dot is extension for header file, right? Standard info dot code. Printf scanf function belongs to stdio.h, right? And this Omeo is what? Tool input output. Okay, and it is containing the functions which we use frequently. That is what? CLR, SCR, okay, and then is the next one get ch. Is to predefined declaration is present in conio.h header file, conio.h header file, and this scanf and printf function belongs to stdio. Remember. Then I have told you that there are some rules for declaration of a variable. Okay, this is valid variable. You can give small case as a variable name. You can give uppercase. This is also valid. Start with small case and then uppercase. This is also valid variable name, because there are some rules for declaring the variables. Right? Start with uppercase and then small case. Yes, it is also valid. Start with underscore and then a. This is also valid. But you cannot start with digit. Remember, this is invalid because can't start with the digit. Okay? A1 is valid because we are not starting with the digit, but we are just ending with the digit. This one. This is valid, but this is invalid. Int, no, we can't use it because there are 32 keywords, right? In that keyword, int is also present. Int, char, float, all these are keywords, predefined keywords whose meaning is already defined to the compiler. Right? It has some specific meaning. So you cannot use keywords as a variable name. You cannot write like this, right? You cannot use int is equals to 10. You cannot declare variable like this. Okay, this is right? But you cannot use variable name as keyword. This is not valid. Remember, there are 32 keywords. You need to remember all those keywords so that you will not give the name of the variable as keywords. Okay. Int. Now this is in a capital letter. As I told you that all the keywords are in a small case letter. So this int is small case. It is a keyword, but this is not a keyword because all the keywords are in small case. So you can give the variable name as caps int. This is valid. But if you are writing in a small case, now this is a keyword. You cannot write it. Okay. Average number, this is invalid because we are giving the space in between. Average and number के बीच में space दिया है. Okay. So no blank space is allowed while giving the variable name. This is valid because in net underscore. So if you put underscore over here, then this is valid. This is valid. Okay, because there is no blank space. Then rec, then hash, invalid. Except underscore, no special character is allowed in a variable name. Okay. But what are the limitation of the variable? Variable can hold only one value at a time. Remember this point. Variable can hold only one value at a time. Then what are the identifiers? Identifies all the words that we will use in your program will be either keyword or identifier. Okay, so whatever words we are using in our program, that will be either a keyword or it will be a identifier. Keywords are predefined words, and we can't change by the. It can be changed by the user, while identifiers are user-defined word. Remember, identifiers are nothing but the user-defined word and are used to give name to entities like variable, arrays, or so on. Functions, structures. Okay, so identifiers are nothing but the way by which we can give the name to the entities. So this variable name is also identifier. R, area. These are nothing but the variable names, are nothing but the identifiers. The next one is a constant. So constant is an entity whose value cannot be changed during the program execution. Okay. So we can declare constant in C programming like this. Hash define the very constant name, that is pi. So after define, give some space. So this is the constant name, give some space, and this is the value of pi. So this pi value cannot be changed and it can be accessible throughout the program. Okay. If I am writing the variable or constant inside the main function, then this is called as local declaration. If I am writing something outside of main function, then that will be global declaration. Now this is global. Global declaration means what? We can use that pi value throughout the program, in main function also, outside of main other function, because our program, when we will see the function module, we will have the more than one function instead of void. Sorry, along with the void main function, we will have more than one function in our program. Okay, so this pi value can be accessible in main and other functions also, user defined functions also. Okay, that's why it is called as a global declaration. But if I am writing something inside main, this is called a local declaration. So this will be accessible only within this function. Okay, so that's why it is local and this is global. Global means accessible throughout program, but local means what? Only within that function. Only within that function. Okay, so this is what? Local declaration. Okay, so I am declaring the value for pi, that is constant value 3.14. Okay, don't give semicolon here. Okay, remember we are not giving semicolon while declaring the constant value. Then float, void main. I want to find out the value of the. I want to find out the area, right? So this is the formula. Area is equal to pi into r into r. That is pi r square, right? So enter the radius of that circle. So radius will be of form what? Floating type. Okay, that's why format specifier as %f, and then I'm taking the input for radius, so ampersand r. Then how to calculate the area? Pi r square. So pi into r into r. So there is no square symbol over here. So for that we write pi. This is multiplication symbol. Okay, star is nothing but the multiplication. Pi star r, then again star r. Okay, that means pi r square. This result will be stored in area variable, and we need to display that area, which is of type float. That's why while displaying, instead of %, you need to write it as %. That's it. If you want to do, if you don't want to do the declaration, constant declaration like this, so there is one more way you can use the const variable. Const then pi is equals to 3.4. So one more bit, or and like this. Okay, const pi 3.14. Okay, this is how either you can declare using the hash symbol, or you can declare the constant like this. Both are one and the same. Doesn't matter. Whatever you feel comfortable, you can use it. Okay. So this was related to variable, constant, and how to declare the constant. You have to practice all these programs. Okay. If you are not practicing the program, you will not be able to make command over this language. practice is very important. That's why I'm telling you, just download that Turbo C in your computer and start practicing this program, because whenever you will practice it, there at that time you will get some problem, and then only you will learn. Okay, getting the errors in your program, it doesn't mean that you are not a good programmer. Okay, if you are getting the error, then read those errors. What are those errors? Identify those errors and rectify those errors. Okay, this is the best practice to learn this C program. If you are not getting error in your program, it means that you are not learning it 100%. If you are getting the error, then only you will understand this language very well. Okay. uh, I request all the students to write your attendance in chat box. And one more thing, we have one more lecture in the evening from 4 to 5. That is induction program, today and tomorrow, 2 days, from 4 to 5, today as well as tomorrow. So you have to join at 4 o'clock also. Please write down your attendance in the chat box. All of you understood today's session, because it was just the beginning. First of all, write down your attendance, and later on you can give me the confirmation whether you understood or not.